Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, I'm going to be comparing two different types of apprehensions, and one being on the criminal element, and the other one being a migrant worker element. So, more towards the city, you'll see more of a criminal element, gang member type, for the fact that it's more convenient and they're able to get across much easier. And when I say they're able to get across much easier, they're coming across by themselves. They're not bringing anybody. They're just conducting their own personal business. And a lot of them to this day can actually pull it off. They may get caught one here or there, but for the majority, they will get through for the fact that they know the route, they know the time, they know the logistics. So for them, it's no problem. And they will not carry a different person with them because that ruins your chance by 50% of getting caught instead of just being by yourself. And they wouldn't be their first time doing it. So you had to take extra caution actually when you apprehend in the city compared to the mountains because you have to pat them down. You got to handcuff them either with plastic or with your own metal handcuffs for the fact that you don't know what their background is or to the extent of uh, of their capability of being violent. And we only housed them for a few minutes. We had actual transportation, which is actually a department where they drive around in Greyhound buses, picking up at each station. And then from there, they will decide or they will get transferred anywhere from California to Arizona and then get deported at a port down south, depending on how or where they were busted or where they would tell you we're from here, we're from there. But majority, same area where they got apprehended, they would get sent back. So there was a certain amount of number. It's a certain amount of number till they would prosecute. So it would be like the third or fourth, or it actually was higher, but I'm not gonna say the real number. But it's that number is actually when they will actually detain you and process you, and you will see a judge, and he will tell you your actual your number of years where you cannot try to apply to come into the United States. The majority of them years is 10 years that a judge will sentence you that you cannot try to apply for any kind of visa or any kind of permit to cross into the United States legally. You get punished for 10 years. So that's the actual most of the city. You got to be careful. I did in the mid 80s. That's when border bandits in the city were more common. They would hold up, they would violently take belongings, take money from the migrants, and that's when they traditionally changed to where a an illegal alien would actually look for a guide or a coyote to come across, but yet would not exchange the money until the deed was done. There's a lot of steps into moving people, which I won't get into, and the money definitely won't get into that part. And I wish I could because I do have a lot of inside information on that. But at the end of the day, it's still somebody's business and it's still somebody's money, and I won't go there. So nah, I won't even do a future video on that because it's nah, I wouldn't be right. So they traditionally would actually trust an actual smuggler to get them from point A to point B safe. And but I do have a story of a female that came from Ecuador that I have helped at her last process of actually coming in to the United States. And I'll make a video on that in the future. But yeah, it was she was in her 20s. She was in her young 20s, and all the way from Ecuador, she made it here. So, well, that'll be another video. So on the city side, you also have to actually be careful because, especially through Imperial Beach, there was a lot of raw sewage that would come from Mexico that still comes to Mexico to this day. So you had to be careful. I had to get extra vaccines just to work down there. And so, well, back on the border bandits, yeah, they would actually hurt a lot of people. They would actually hurt a lot of people, and you don't hear about them on more. They're more common. To I believe like the coyotes actually faded them out to where they actually handled it because they were hurting a lot of people and robbing a lot of people too. So you always had to be ready for that. Also coming across somebody like that too because they were armed. They were armed. So now when we got to the East County, matter of fact, the first day when we had to transport a group that we had to go pick up that the field agents already had apprehended, well, I got out of my van and I started patting down as they started trickling into my van. And one of the guys goes over, says, "Oh, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry. We don't do that here." And I was like, that was it was an eye opening because when you come from the city, it's more of a criminal, but out there, it's more of a migrant. And they didn't feel the threat of actually of have them being armed or anything. But if as soon as they got picked up from our station on the East County, then the actual transport officers, before they got them on the bus, they would actually do a thorough pat down and have them load up on the bus. But when we hit the East County, our tactics had to change. Not for the fact that there was a threat or if for any reason, for the reason that our backup would be anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes before somebody can actually get there to help you, to back you up. So you had to have a little bit more precautions and you had to have a little bit more extra arms, extra long arms. And it was common for us to carry them extra long arms. And but if you came off the field and there wasn't enough at the station, they'd hand you off there. Then they give you the sequence of the actual shotgun ammo, whether it be slug in the buck. There was a certain amount of series that they would hand it off to how we would load them up. So, and then there was also the A1s that were available, the Vietnam era type. We had them available too. So again, it wasn't much for protection or for it was a threat out there. It was for more of a in case it happened, backup wasn't going to get there for a while. You had a little bit more extra long arm for your actual your situation. And oh, and then also my favorite my two favorite vehicles. It'd be the 1986 Crown Vic, the Interceptor. That was the smoothest ride I've ever drove. We would cruise at 90 on the highway. We would cruise easily at 90 and it would go up to 120. But don't compare it to a Caprice Chevy though. You cannot confuse it with that because now the Caprice was also it was I enjoyed it. It was a smooth ride too. But the Caprice two front seats they actually reclined all the way back. So if you needed to take a if you were it was middle of the night you need to take a nap, pull over in a safe area, and you were able to recline that seat all the way to the back. That's one good advantage that the 95 Caprice came out with that. And so that's just giving you just a little bit of insight of the actual what the difference was. And as we hit more towards the desert, you had to actually be more prepared for the elements too. And I wasn't shy about carrying a sleeping bag because you just never know what you may get caught behind or even extra food, extra water. Uh, we did have a stipend for the immigrants to give them as we got more towards the mountain range and in the desert. But it wasn't much. It wasn't much, but it was something, for them to snack on and to drink. But that's just it was just more of a it was actually more of a military style type of uh, I guess setup because the fact that you're up against the elements too, so you just couldn't go in there with a thin jacket, a thin windbreaker like that. You had to actually carry your gloves, carry your scarf or whatever you need to do, but we had to carry extra equipment because the fact that you're out there by themselves and you had to be on your A game all the time, because you just never know when he was gonna pop off. Well, it's just a little comparison of the actual two different duties of same agency but two different duties. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time, guys.